Mission accomplished.
Seat as though I was like, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Like, was that okay?
But wait, there's more.
The conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title. And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Hold up.
Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
there's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
it. With Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially and what that would mean or look like.
Oprah, they're so racist. That's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be.
That conversation I'm never going to share.
Ooh, this is uncomfortable.
We'll talk when we get home.
There we go. I just said it's best to keep the crowds waiting. They appreciate you that much more. I was late because I had forgotten my crown. And now I'm just sitting so oddly on my head today. Issues. All right, we're here. I really didn't think it was going to happen, but here we are. I've made it. I've made it. I've made it. And my nails match the color around here. Look at that. I literally just walked in the house from a nail appointment. It was a 6:00 appointment, so it went a little long. Well, they were behind. Okay. It's only up oh goodness, it's only up at the corner, so I figured I had more than enough time. All right. I'm going to say hi to everybody. We were going to do 3 chapters this evening, but I changed it just because I only slept 5 hours and 9 minutes last night, according to the old Apple Watch. So I do need to get to bed at a decent time because tomorrow I leave for 5 days of this retreat. So I thought, instead of canceling, let's read 2 chapters because it's going to take us a long time to get through this, and it's just starting to get good. That's not going to say every chapter is going to get better than the one before. I'm sure we're going to have a bunch that are just another one of these. We're going to name a bunch of people and places that Duchess Jenny of Ohio is going to have a difficult time pronouncing. But nevertheless, I want to get through it, and crazy stuff is happening in the royal family anyway, and I just feel like I need some more background information. And that being said, when I go to bed at night, which means I have to keep replaying it because I go to sleep and I miss most of it, I am watching again the final season of The Crown since I have Netflix. All right. This is really going to bother me. I feel like I have a big bump up there. I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Let me say hi to some people and we'll get going. Hello, Miss Lynn Skinner. Thank you for moderating. Hi, Knit My Bit. Nadine is in the house. Mama Squirrel. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. Princesses, one and all. Shana Banana. Hello. Oh, the names are back to normal. Okay, good. They fixed it. Look at that. Anyone else in the house? Yes, we have our resident European, Maureen Laws. Maureen, I'm trying to think now. I know you're in the UK. And I know you told me which country in the UK. And I have forgotten. So tell me again. I'll try to keep my eye on the chat. midnight, I see you say. Anyone else I need to say hello to? I don't want there to be too much silence. Look at all this chat going back and forth. Oh, Wendy's here. Good to see Wendy's front yard. And Amy's here. Good to see you too. Okay. Oh, so much chat still going on. Okay, Janice. Good to see you, Janice. And Joni C. Yay. Lots of peace Bill made it this evening. There was no sound. I know it took me a minute. I don't know why it. I think I know why. Forget it. I think I know why. Living an eclectic life. Good to see you. And Janice is here. Hello. Ashley, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. And I think I'm caught up. Am I caught up? And then we'll get started with chapter 11 of Revenge. Yes, I'm caught up. Yes. This chapter is called Wrightman's. Take 2. I have to say The Crown, the series of The Crown, going back and watching it now again. Oh, I'm not watching the whole thing, but I just watched the final season. I don't even think I watched the whole final season. I'm watching like the last few episodes because I wasn't sure if I had seen them before, but I'm pretty sure I did. I think I was doing something at the same time, so I missed some stuff. Nevertheless, they are not showing Harry in a very favorable light at all. At all. They make him seem like he's kind of a jerk. Attention-seeking, annoying, immature. Yeah. No, I'm not. I haven't gotten all the way through it. Maybe that'll change, but yeah. Spoiled brat or a soiled brat. Both of those. Crusty and a soiled brat. Yes. Yeah. Andrew. Ugh. He just, well, Did you hear that? Like, he's in that house, that big house. Do you know how, was it at Balmoral? Oh, Maureen would know all this. I get them mixed up. I don't think it was Balmoral. No, it was actually in England. It was another one of the houses. So not the tiny little house, but the bigger white house that originally was sort of like had a bunch of rooms that were guest quarters or staff quarters. And then Meghan and Harry gutted and renovated the whole thing and made it one big house. Oh, Fergie's nasty too? Really? I don't know anything about Fergie other than Weight Watchers, really. And I remember when she first came into the royal family, she was just like Meghan to me. Like, oh, what a breath of fresh air. And I remember thinking, oh, poor girl. They kept calling her the Duchess of Pork because she was the Duchess of York. And that's all I know. Well, there's the toe stuff, yeah. Or maybe that's why she liked Andrew. Well, my understanding is that they are both still living in the big house. Maybe it is, anyway, the house that had the little cottage. Because I know that one had a second house on it. I think so. So they live in the bigger of the two houses. No, because that's where Meghan and Harry got married. Okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. At any rate, he's just living on the grounds doing nothing because basically he's been banned from doing anything because he's an embarrassment. So everyone's just paying to let him golf and find women, I guess. But rumor has it that Charles is just like a softie and he won't put his foot down when it comes to family, but Wills apparently has a backbone. And Harry and Andrew should be concerned. I think Andrew already has been. That's right. Andrew's in the big. Yes, he's in the bigger house on the same grounds as Frogmore. He's in the Frogmore Castle, and then Meghan and Harry were originally in Frogmore Cottage, which was a small cottage on the same grounds as Frogmore Castle. And I think that I guess Prince Charles has asked him to move Andrew and Fergie. I guess when they're there, they probably travel so much, to move out of Frogmore Castle and into the white house that was renovated by Harry. Well, I'm thinking, oh, they're going to get a completely gutted, renovated, multi-million-dollar estate. No, apparently Andrew's not happy about it. Okay, so that's just what I heard through the grapevine. Royal Lodge. See, that doesn't sound familiar to me, but it could be. It could be. I don't know them well enough, to be honest with you. There's so many properties. Why do they have so many properties? It's crazy. I mean, they're all so big. You could put everybody in one. All right. Oh yeah, Charles is going to leave. What if he doesn't get a backbone? It's not right for him to leave this mess on Williams. I mean, it's not right. Oh, Andrew and Harry don't get along. Didn't know. Two peas in a pod. All right. Yeah, he can't afford the upkeep on it, and he wants everyone else to take care of it for him. And I guess Prince Charles is trying to be frugal, which is good, with their dollars, and they realize that they do have a lot of estates, and it's not necessary for Andrew to live in a castle. So he wants to put him in this very nice 5,000 square foot home, which is a downgrade from a castle, but it's gorgeous and beautiful and newly renovated, and it's over 5,000 square feet. But Andrew is having a temper tantrum. Okay, allegedly. That's what I heard somewhere on when I was listening to some YouTube news thing from London. All right. Oh, he does live in. Okay, thank you, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Andrew lives in the Royal Lodge. Frogmore Cottage is on the Windsor estate and too close to Adelaide Cottage where William lives. Oh, okay. William doesn't want Harry that close to his family. Okay. Or he doesn't want Andrew that close to his family. Probably both. Royal Lodge. Okay. Yeah, I gotta brush up on my castles and estates and lodges and cottages that are all owned by the royal family. All right, so today we're going to read about the Wrightmans. I'm trying to refresh my memory right now. I should have done this beforehand and looked at the name of the chapter. Wrightman. Who are the Wrightmans? Oh, Wrightman's is the name of that department store in Canada. Okay, we don't have those in America, so I apologize to all the Canadians, all you Canucks that are watching. Me apologies. All right. Let's just jump right in and see where we are. So last we left, she got a deal with Wrightman's to do some clothes stuff, and apparently it's like I don't know if it's a they made it sound like it was a discount clothes store, but maybe it's just like not Rodeo Drive, like a Macy's or Kaufman's. They don't even have Kaufman's anymore. Macy's or Dillard's type, which would be discount compared to, I don't know. I don't buy the other designers. Liz Claiborne, Michael Kors, those type of names. Okay, here we go. Wrightman's Take Two is the name of this chapter. On the 13th of March, Meghan flew into Montreal for the second Wrightman shoot. As she entered the location, an old restaurant called Auberge St. Gabriel, for the day's filming, the tension was uncomfortable. The contract for 8 days' work paid Meghan $202,000, $628,000, plus 7% royalties. That's a good deal. No wonder she took it. 8 days, 1 week, over $200,000 1 week. Okay. Some people just live a whole different life, right? Just a whole different life. My nail guy, we were talking about the show on the television in there, because I was the very last one there. Nobody came in. They were open till 7, but I was the last appointment they took at 6, which I didn't really get taken until about 6:20. And so the show, and he goes, oh, yeah, they're going to win like $5,000 for doing this. 5,000. I was like, oh. And I said, well, that's not bad for a day's work. I'd take that job. All I have to do is go grocery shopping, throw some things together in a pot. I'll do it for $5,000. He's like, oh, how some people live. Made me think of it, because if he knew that Meghan was getting $202,000 for 8 days work, I think that he would fall down. All right, here we go. Good old Tom. Tom used to be my nail tech. It was over a decade ago. I've gone back. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's go on. The total $4 million budget, Canadian dollars, it says, shaped around Meghan's fashion credibility and billed as aspirational without being alienating. Jenny Miller, the head of marketing, described Meghan as the national spokesperson for Wrightman's. We wanted someone with a point of view, she said. Very soon, many of the creative team associated with the campaign were exhausted by Meghan's point of view. Discussions about the commercial's concept or storyline had started in February. The 35-second commercial for the summer campaign was called The Label. Meghan, the creative director's, is this one of those step-asides? Employed by the day. Okay. We're just going to say Meghan is really, it's like 3 lines long and it's still going. Meghan, skip all that, disagreed. Okay. Meghan disagreed about the concept that ended with Meghan delivering the tagline, Wrightman's. Really? It's kind of an odd tagline. I can't argue with Meghan on that one. It sounds like it's going to be a question. Wrightman's. Really? I guess it's supposed to be delivered. Wrightman's. Really? It's weird. Okay. Over several weeks, Meghan had denounced Tank's storyboard. A handsome man asks Meghan to dance at a party in order to be able to read the label on her dress. Could such a beautiful woman really be wearing a Wrightman's dress? Yeah, they're really putting themselves down, aren't they? Seriously, this doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense, but they're kind of saying, we're the bottom of the barrel. Can somebody really pretty actually wear our stuff? It's not exactly the brand that Meghan wants to push forth. I'll say that for sure. Over several weeks, Meghan had denounced Tank. Okay, well, I'm sorry. 5 hours of sleep late at night. I apologize right now. Here we go. Okay, so this handsome man asked her to dance Wrightman's. Could that be a Wrightman's dress? Okay. Seriously, that doesn't make sense, Meghan exclaimed about the storyboard. I'm a brash American, and if my name is going to be on something, I'm going to have my say. Tank's account manager, Emmanuel Theon, and creative director Sophie Gaudet were reluctant to make changes. In their opinion, Meghan offered no worthwhile alternative ideas other than suggesting that a Caribbean location with a Hollywood budget would be better. Gosh, does that not sound like Meghan with everything we hear going on right now and all the branding and all the deals and things that aren't going through and then just the stuff we've read before? I mean, it's just perfect. She hates all the ideas, but she has no other ones to offer. All she knows is no. Except, I do believe if you send me to a Caribbean destination in first class and put me up in the Ritz, we might be able to make this work. It's just crazy. On the 4th of March, the arguments reached their climax. After ferocious exchanges, a few script changes were made, only to be rejected by Meghan again. She bulldozed her way through and never said a nice word, complained one on the team. No one stood up to her. As the argument reached a climax, Meghan cut the telephone line. That evening, John Grammatico, a director known as a professional without ego, emailed Tank's creative director. He urged her to agree to a solution to avoid expensive time-wasting confrontations during the actual filming. Meghan, Grammatico suggested, was not completely wrong. The agency was focusing the commercial on Wrightman's label and the dress. Like all stars, Meghan wanted the focus to be on herself. She needs to be flattered, he wrote. And she's right. Celebrities want to be the hero. Oh, Lord, is this how we cater to and kowtow to celebrities? No wonder they're insufferable. The solution was to put Meghan in charge because she's beautiful and famous and she's in control. Oh, this ought to go well. Rather than the man looking at the label, suggested Grammatico, he should look at Meghan. Reluctantly, the creative director agreed. The script was rewritten by Grammatico. His script had punch. At the end of their dance, unknown but jealous women watching the dancers try to get a peek at the label on Meghan's stunning dress and are confronted by Meghan. As she turns around on the dance floor, she tells the woman with a smile, Wrightman's, really? Grammatico's solution was accepted, but the seeds of discord had been sown. 1 year after the first campaign, Meghan was less enamored than her brand was attached to Wrightman's. Not only was she associated with a down-market label, but their new clothes were decidedly unappealing. Poor Wrightman's. They're like going through the ringer in this book. Never heard of Wrightman's, but not interested in shopping there. Okay. In addition, her sense of entitlement had grown. To prove her importance, she demanded additional special treatment. Unhappy that her executive suite for $1,531 a night at the Palais des Armes Hotel in Montreal was only a master bedroom, living room, and powder room. Oh, how could she survive? Meghan demanded that the agency reserve a bigger suite at the more expensive Galt Hotel. She insists, said her agent. The production team resisted. She wants photographs of the hotel rooms and the rooms assigned to her on the set, shouted her agent. Next, Meghan demanded that she be registered in the hotel under an alias. Oh, here we go again. She thinks she's so important. Everyone's going to be hunting her down for autographs. All right, she wanted the alias Jane Smith. Her identity must be kept a secret, said her agent. Meghan doesn't want to be hassled by the hotel staff, other guests, or photographers. The production team were flummoxed. No one in French-speaking Montreal knew Meghan. In the event the hotel refused the request, oh, that's interesting. That's the end of the sentence. In the event, comma, the hotel refused the request. Okay. You Brits speak a little different than we do over here. Registered under her own name, no paparazzi gathered outside the hotel. They made her register under her own name. Nobody showed up. Inside the hotel room, Meghan's complaints hit another high. Ignoring the flower displays, bottles of her favorite wine, and even a special calligraphy pen carefully laid out on the table, she criticized the hotel's Tempur-Pedic bathrobe and slippers. They make Tempur-Pedic bathrobes? I could see slippers because, it's the... Well, okay. She wanted Dior. Come on, people. Of course she does. The tea was the wrong blend, and the vegan green juice was warm. Dreadful. I don't know how she made it through the night, quite frankly. Meghan's arrival on the set at 7:10 a.m. was anticipated. The princess is coming, snickered one assistant. Hard-faced, Meghan entered the restaurant, avoiding eye contact with the crew. Her agent had demanded that only the designated few on the set were authorized to speak to her. You know what? I am really getting to know this girl more and more. Do you remember on very first day when I put together the video and I said, look at this girl's Instagram. She really thinks she's someone special. Nobody knows who this girl is except for the fact she married Prince Harry. This is back before she even met Harry. This is how she felt she should be treated, how important she was. Okay. The order had been passed among the 58 members of the Canadian production team. With a forced smile, she disappeared upstairs to her dressing room. The whisper across the production team was equally poisonous. She's fake sweet. 2 hours had been allocated for completing her hair and makeup and, at her last-minute request, to paint her nails. During that session, Meghan talked about life with Felix, her trusted hairdresser. The manicurist, a woman in her late 30s, joined the conversation. According to those involved, Meghan was rude and unpleasant. The manicurist was stunned. There was silence as her nails were finished. The manicurist was dismissed. Dismissed. She's so full of herself. I never even dismissed my kids from anything. She left the location in tears. Well, there's the first actual tears that are documented, because there's all those allegations now of people at her house in Montecito, as well as royal staffers that worked with her, that were brought to tears. And many quit service. This unusual situation caused me stress, she later confessed. It still haunts me. Throughout the day, Meghan appeared for her shots escorted by her entourage, Felix the hairdresser, and Marco the makeup artist, and then returned to her room. Both were ordered never to leave her side. She was always fed up, one crew member noted, sighing, huffing, and rolling her eyes at things. It was heavy working with her. Another noticed that she would be super sweet with Felix and Marco, and then within seconds turn to the crew and be super disagreeable. The own brand Wrightman's clothes she was expected to wear, Meghan, were unsatisfactory. Definitely inferior to Chanel. Meghan's complaints sparked members of the team to make mock faces behind her back. She's here for her ego, not the art, said another unimpressed team member. Occasionally, she openly refused to follow John Grammatico's direction or asked him to change his angle. Grammatico patiently explained his intentions. No one dared to contradict Meghan. Keeping their jobs depended on satisfying her demands. The only consolation was Meghan's actual performance. In front of the lens, she transformed herself into a warm, glorious icon. The camera loved her, and she loved the camera. The downside was the arguments. Shouldn't it be were? Anyway, at the end of 12 hours filming, the crew wrapped to avoid triple time payments. 17 shots had been prepared on the storyboard. Because of the disagreements, Grammatico had been unable to record 2 critical shots. The following day, the mood deteriorated. The new location was in a loft on St. Pierre Street. Over 12 hours, Meghan would shoot a video of fashion tips for the website. Since the technical requirements were lower than for a commercial, the lighting and sound equipment were noticeably inferior. At 7:10 a.m., Meghan arrived, giving some the impression that she was unconvinced by the campaign. To satisfy another of her demands, the wardrobe staff had bought a pair of expensive, I don't know, some fancy name, beige suede shoes chosen by Meghan. From her dressing room, Meghan was heard complaining about the production, the clothes, the style, and the script. In particular, she implied that Jeannie Miller, the Wrightman's marketing executive, lacked fashion sense. In retaliation, members of the team began to speak in French. Meghan was offended, recalled one person. She took it personally. Of course she did. During the filming, Meghan was asked, "What Canadian women inspires you?" She laughed and asked for examples. "None of them inspires me," she replied. Oh gosh. "You can't make me say something I don't want to or don't believe in." She's inspired by no Canadians. Okay. Again, no one dared challenge the star except John Grammatico. I don't like the shot, Meghan complained. Initially, her demands for changes to the angles were rejected. Toward the end of the day, Grammatico relented. Whoever or whatever, he sighed. Oh, I get it. Whatever, he sighed and obeyed. At the end, they were all eyeballing one another. It's a wrap, shouted the assistant at exactly 7 p.m. Meghan's agent had already called to warn that her client would not film one extra minute. She was in a hurry. There was none of the customary thank you or see you again. Meghan departed. To the surprise of the wardrobe staff, she forgot to leave behind the... To the surprise? Oh, I'm not surprised. She forgot to leave behind the Aquazara shoes. Mistakenly, she walked out of the apartment wearing them. That's the last time we'll work together, Grammatico muttered accurately. It's nice to suffer with you, grumbled one account executive to a cameraman. She is definitely the meanest person I have ever met. Just saying, Jean Malik, the third director, posted on Facebook. That's its own sentence. Just saying. Jean posted on Facebook. Okay, another female member of the team would be more specific. A longtime fan of Suits and Meghan, that person had looked forward to working with the actress. Quote, instead, I thought she was a bit of a bully, filled with a narcissist entitlement complex that had everyone walk on eggshells, as well as the agency and production teams work around the clock under tremendous stress with no demonstration of appreciation at all. More often than not, sarcastic, condescending, demeaning criticism. The fallout threatened the third day of filming. Oh gosh, it's still going. Oh, right. It's 8 days. Oh, I forgot. The fallout threatened the third day of filming. Meghan would be modeling Wrightman's jeans. To rescue the campaign, Wrightman's retail president, Walter Lampthoff, met Lori Sale in a Los Angeles hotel. During the filming, Lamoth said Meghan had gone into makeup and had ranted about the crew, creative staff, and Wrightman's executives. She's off the rails, one of them said. The problem, exclaimed Lamoth, was whether Meghan was willing to complete the contract and promote the range on TV. The agent called Meghan. That kind of behavior will never happen again, Meghan was told. In plain language, the agent ordered her client to send handwritten apologies and then to fulfill her contract. Her agent's not that bad, whoever this chickadee is. No apologies were forthcoming, but on Meghan's insistence, another production company was employed for the third day's filming. So instead of Meghan making apologies for her bad behavior, she got a whole new production staff. I don't know how that one worked out. The girl that whatever she touches turns to gold. Let's see. Unsurprisingly, the fear Meghan generated made some of her team reluctant to describe their experiences. Jeannie Miller, I think that's her agent, right? I don't know. Anyway, Jeannie Miller, no, she was, okay, I don't know. She might be the Wrightman's rep. Seen on the second day's shoot, reduced to tears, and who, that's who that was, and who left Wrightman's after the filming, went to another extreme. Recently, she described her relationship with Meghan as, quote, excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed the collaboration, and her input was well received. She was kind, thoughtful, and conducted herself as a professional, end quote. Viewers would never realize the turmoil associated with the production. Loving the camera, Meghan became a different person during the brief minutes of filming. The results of the well-shot commercial portrayed Meghan at her best. A separate film of Meghan's work to design 4 dresses for the Meghan Markle range was professional. Her approved portrayal sat oddly with her later comments about having watched Married with Children being shot with her father 20 years earlier. I saw how the women were objectified, and I knew I didn't want to be looked at like that. One Facebook comment suggested that the Wrightman's campaign had landed her in the same trap. She looks like she's heading into a porn set. You can't even properly see the dress. During a special TV program, Jessica Mulrooney agreed. She called one outfit, quote, a porno pose dress with pussy bow. Hope I can say that. In the post-production of the advertisements, Meghan sent countless comments and demands about changes to the color of her lipstick and her waistline. The request regarding a photograph of her sitting down with open sandals generated particular mirth. Please fix my feet for me. I get slaughtered online for people picking apart my feet, sadly. There's a scar on my left foot, and my right foot isn't the prettiest. Long toe, etc. If you can soften that so that it doesn't distract from the shoe, that would be amazing. Silly, I know, but trust me, I know it's best. That last line was my little addition. To launch a new campaign in Toronto, Wrightman's hosted a lunch on the 5th of April for fashion journalists. Jessica Mulrooney's perspective presence propelled Meghan into a hysterical spin. The table decor, the flowers, and the menu, she screamed to her agent Lori Sale in Los Angeles, were all terrible. What will Jessica Mulrooney say? She wailed. Sale pointed out that her small audience in Los Angeles had never heard of Mulrooney. On TV, Mulrooney would praise Wrightman's faux feather leggings and cashmere blend poncho. On the same live program, Meghan promoted clothes manufactured by Forever 21. The company was criticized for paying its workers in Los Angeles as little as $4 an hour. And the average of $7 per hour, scoring 2 out of 5 on the ethical labor practices and a 2 out of 5 on efforts to reduce waste. Ouch. Once the dust settled, Wrightmans were satisfied. The commercials were credited with increasing their sales by over 20%. Forgetting her anger, Meghan spoke about the TV advent and the billboards and her face across Canada as life-changing. It's a huge moment, she said. Oops. Oh, that's the end of the chapter. It's a huge moment, she said. Okay. We're moving right on to chapter 12. I was just going to say, I don't think I could do more than one chapter. I'm fading fast. But we're good. We're good. We're in chapter 12. Here we go. Befriending celebrities united Meghan and Marcus Anderson, Soho House's manager in Toronto, in a common cause. Both were looking for famous people to enhance their professional fortunes. That quest was particularly important for Meghan in the spring of 2016. In preparation for another trip to London in June, she needed more contacts in the capital. Knowing the importance Meghan attached to celebrities, Anderson introduced her to Princess Eugenie, the daughter of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Like her parents, Eugenie appreciated freebies and hobnobbing with the rich and famous. After the meeting, Meghan considered calling the princesses during her next visit to London. Eugenie was the type who could help her. Before the filming of Suits broke for another summer holiday, Meghan and Corey once again discussed how to end their relationship. He would need to move out of their joint house. Some thought she was hedging her bets. Others believed her subsequent explanation for the breakdown that Corey didn't want to settle down. Subsequent explanation for the breakdown that Corey didn't want to settle down. In truth, Corey was relieved that she had taken the initiative before she left for Europe. As agreed, Nell Thorpe Crown. I have that written down here. Yeah, Gina. As agreed, Gina had arranged with difficulty free accommodations in the 5-star Carlton Tower Hotel in Knightsbridge. In return for posting for the hotel's magazine front cover and other promotional publicity on the TIG and her Instagram and Twitter accounts, she could stay for 1 week. That's pretty generous. My colleague and I walked to her room at the Carlton, recalled Gina. Now, that's the agent, right? I think that's the agent. And en route was this parrot singing in a cage. Meghan looked at the parrot and looked at my colleague and said, quote, "I can't stay here because of the parrot." The colleague's description of the scene was more colorful. Meghan went completely ballistic. It was really unpleasant. Meghan immediately checked out. Gina arranged accommodations at the Soho Hotel. I realized that she was absolutely right, of course, said Gina. Wild animals belong in the wild, not in cages. Once settled into her room, Meghan came down for lunch with Gina's co-director and a widely respected literary agent, Adrian Sington, as his assistant. Weeks earlier, Meghan had asked Sington to draft a synopsis for a proposed book to be written by her based on the TIG. It would be titled Think Beautiful. Meghan's purpose was to leverage her brand by promoting the products, restaurants, and places featured on her website to comprehensively help women to better themselves. After her outburst at the hotel, Sington was uncertain how Meghan would behave. Over the previous months, many of the agency had become wary of their client. They thought Meghan's mood was unpredictable. Regularly, she called the agency to demand that they make reservations at restaurants or events in anticipation of her arrival in London. Inevitably, she would cancel or change her requirements. During these telephone calls, Sington was distraught by what he witnessed. He saw a young woman reduced to tears by what she called Meghan's passive-aggressive tone. Second person that we know of that they put in print that she made cry. On this occasion, Meghan calmly sat down for lunch. Her metabolism required the right amount of food at a precise time. Her metabolism. But as she ate, she quietly directed her venom at Sington. His synopsis, said Meghan, contained a proposed chapter called How to Be a Better Woman. The chapter focused on women's choices to improve her sexual attraction. Meghan, said Sington, seethed at him. She complained that he had inserted sex into her proposal. He was surprised. Meghan regularly posted messages on the TIG recommending potions and poses to secure a man's interest. But Meghan was following a now familiar pattern. On this occasion, her anger was directed at the experienced agent. She seemed to delight in humiliating people. That's a rough sentence. Delight in humiliating people. Okay, here's a French word I don't know. Her raison d'être, concluded Sington, appeared to be manipulating men. Okay, Sington said basically she likes to manipulate men. Was it, he wondered, a result of her terrible envy? At the end of the meal, she left for her room. She's one of the most unpleasant people I've ever dealt with, Sington later told Gina. By then, Meghan had also told the agency, forget the book and forget him. I never want to be in the same room as him again. Later that same afternoon, Meghan once again met with Swiss watch manufacturer. Finally, a promotional contract was agreed. The contract, if completed, could have been worth $500,000. To wear a watch and say that you like how it keeps track of time? Goodness. In the evening, Meghan spoke again to Gina about finding an Englishman to marry. I want an Englishman. Gina, get me an Englishman. Okay, sorry. I had to break into character for a second. Not only had she heard about Cole's unpleasant past, but in a recent interview with GQ magazine, Meghan had explained how a man could impress her with kindness, confidence, and finding the right line between funny and vulgar. She disliked men who spent too long in the bathroom, but loved how, quote, British guys dress for the cold, end quote. Ashley Cole fulfilled few of her requirements, but raised the suspicion, despite her denials, of a relationship. Meghan then headed to the Mediterranean to spend a few weeks in Ibiza and Amalfi with Marcus Anderson, Jessica Mulroney, and Misha. No, Misha Nonu. The four were kindred spirits, each of them yearning to be part of the jet set. The thrill of boarding a private plane and flying anywhere in the world was, on command, one of their dreams. In reality, Meghan's day-to-day life was utterly conventional. There was no danger, no risk, no threat of her survival. She was not part of a notable set. Her life was a performance to a limited audience on a tiny stage. Part of the crowd she passed through the air terminals, taxis, and hotels in almost complete anonymity. Her problems were familiar to all unknown, unmarried actors in their mid-30s. Fear of loneliness and personal and financial insecurity. Professionally, she could not complain about unfulfilled potential. She had never struck out to be different or to rebel or judge herself against spectacular theatrical performances. The impression of a person satisfied with herself. She rarely confessed to a lack of self-confidence. Her self-criticism was limited to cosmetic superficialities. The Tig never hinted at an intellectual curiosity or a hinterland. Again, never saw that word before in my life. Hinterland. Hinterland. Okay, it never hinted at intellectual curiosity or a hinterland. She was never heard to suffer any She was never heard to suffer any restlessness to beat a new challenge. The biggest influence on her life so far appears to have been the character Aaron Koresh created, Rachel Zane, the ambitious, fluent, sexy, shallow fashionista with a passion for food. She has mentioned a couple times that is her role model, that Rachel Zane character on Suits. Marriage and finding a well-financed partner was uppermost in the holiday makers' conversations on the Mediterranean beaches and over meals. By then, Misha Nonu's marriage was on the rocks. She had discovered the shortcomings of being among Britain's upper classes. Although Alexander Gilkey's claimed friendship with Princes William and Harry, Princess Eugenie, and Madonna, his financial acumen was unimpressive. His business was unprofitable. Nonu feared that any divorce settlement would stipulate her paying him money. Meghan was also witnessing the perils of finance. Her father was about to file for bankruptcy for the second time. In September 2016, he owed a credit card company £24,600 or $30,000 and owed £49,000 in tax. The credit card debt had soared with 28% interest charges. The number of people who have money and then just piss it away is just not right. I would be fiscally responsible. Somebody give me money. I will. Okay. Unsurprisingly, Meghan was preoccupied by her own financial security and finding a husband. Finding Meghan a suitable Englishman became a pressing issue. Her prospects were discussed after she landed in Hydra, an island south of Athens. Her best friend, Lindsay Roth, was hosting a weekend's hen party before marrying a British actuary. Prince Harry came up in the conversation. Nonu had met him through Gilkey's. Harry was certainly eligible, but was known as feckless towards women. Feckless. There's another word. We should start making a list of all these English words that we're learning. I thought I spoke English and I'm learning. I don't. Okay, Feckles. At first I thought my brain was trying to translate it into freckleless. And I'm like, no, he has freckles. Feckless towards women. From Greece, Meghan headed to London to promote Suits and herself. Once more, she met Lizzie Cundy. Again, they discussed Meghan's chances of appearing on a similar show to Made in Chelsea. She also reaffirmed her everlasting interest in Englishmen. Yet again, Cundy could offer no one suitable. I apologize. Wait. Caffeine. Okay. No, I don't know. Maybe it means fickle. I don't know. Somebody look it up. She is kind of fickle towards women. I mean, the word works. She's known as feckless. Honestly, never heard that word. Okay. Where are we here? Okay. Meghan had been hired to wear Ralph Lauren during the Wimbledon fortnight. Oh, fortnight. He's using the word fortnight. No wonder I haven't heard fortnight since the Gettysburg Address. Okay. The tournament started on the 27th of June. Fortunately for Meghan, although he didn't say fortunately, he wrote fortuitously or something like that. I can't even pronounce it, but I think it means fortunately. Ralph Lauren's newly appointed publicist was Violet von Westernholtz, a well-connected 31-year-old socialite. Her father, Pierce, an interior decorator and antique dealer, was an old friend of Prince Charles's wife, Camilla. During Charles's weekend visits to the Westonholtz's country home, I'm not going to say the name of it, and during joint family holidays, their children, Violet and Harry, had played together. During a conversation with Westonholtz at Wimbledon, Meghan mentioned that connection. In her empathetic manner, she persuaded Violet, a sensitive soul, to arrange a blind date with Harry. What? This is the first time I actually heard that. Because it was always this other friend who set her up on a blind date, and she knew nothing about the man. Is he kind? Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to read that sentence again. During a conversation with Westonholtz at Wimbledon, Meghan mentioned that connection. In her empathetic manner, she persuaded Violet, a sensitive soul, to arrange a blind date with Harry. Before agreeing, Westonholtz sent Harry photos of Meghan. Meghan had also arranged to meet Piers Morgan later that day, the colorful former newspaper editor. Over the previous weeks, they had exchanged several Twitter messages. Morgan was impressed by Meghan's performance on Suits, and she was, as ever, keen to persuade British journalists to take her seriously and build up a profile. They met at the Scarsdale Tavern in Kensington, Morgan's favorite pub. By his account, they enjoyed their conversation. Meghan asked Morgan to invite her on the Good Morning Britain TV show, his TV breakfast show. His enthusiastic reply, she knew, was not a commitment. As she got into a taxi after 90 minutes, he bid farewell, thinking that she was heading to a Mayfair club. He had no idea who she hoped to meet during her visit. Only in hindsight did he realize that she would be ultimately heading for an audition demanding her most compelling performance. Future Duchess, here I come. I mean, she can't even deal with a 4-star hotel, but she went and slept in a tent without a toilet, without a bathroom for a week with this man. She would do anything. Soon after, in remarkably colorful language, Harry approved von Westonholtz's suggestion of meeting Meghan. Once the meeting was agreed, Meghan asked Marcus Anderson to reserve a private room at London Soho House. On the eve of their meeting, Meghan sent her father a note, ending, quote, "I love you with all my heart, now and forever. Love, Bean." Since she had always sent him a Valentine's Day card, he was not surprised by the affection. At lunchtime on Friday, the 1st of July, Meghan and Gina met at a fashionable restaurant in Aldwych near Covent Garden. To her regret, Gina could not report any success in launching Meghan's career in London. Surprisingly, Meghan seemed uninterested. Before they started eating, she whispered, "I'm going on a date tonight." "With who?" asked Gina. She couldn't hear the reply. Meghan whispered so quietly, I had to ask her to repeat it. When she did, Gina was incredulous. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I think she could barely believe it either. We were both extremely excited. I jokingly asked if she knew what she was letting herself in for, and she said, quote, well, it's going to be an experience, and at least it will be a fun night. Gazing at her client, Gina thought, I looked at how stunning she was, and I just thought there is no way he's going to be able to resist her. As Meghan carried on whispering with excitement, Gina interrupted. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know anything about him? Meghan replied, I've Googled Harry. I've gone deeply into his life. Gina isn't that interesting? Because on Oprah, she even said the same thing. I had to Google him as if she didn't know who he was. The interpretation in this book of what was said is that her agent actually said, I've Googled Harry. I've gone deeply into his life. So she did Google him, but not because she had no idea who he was or what he looked like or anything about him, but because she wanted intel so that she knew just the right things to say to hook him. Gina was left in no doubt that Meghan had carefully researched every aspect of Harry and his past lives. Okay, basically, Gina had no doubt that Meghan did a very deep dive and left no stone unturned. Okay. American translation. She understood precisely the man that she was meeting. Needy, volatile, unhappy, and seeking a soulmate. I understood where she was coming from, Gina recalled. Her dream of bagging a prince was even more written in one of her old blogs. It was written in one of her old blogs? What, are we going to quote it here? I don't think so. We need access to the old blog. At Kate's wedding to Prince William in 2011, Meghan had written, quote, little girls dream of being princesses. Little girls dream of being princesses. And grown women seem to retain this childhood fantasy. Just look at the pomp and circumstance surrounding the royal wedding and endless conversations about Princess Kate, end quote. Whoa! The jealousy of Kate started all the way back when Kate got married to William. I mean, there's a lot of talk of the fact that people think that she liked William. She was like more interested in William. She never even met him, but okay, let's read that again. This is the end of the chapter. There's only one more sentence. So I'll read it again. I understood where she was coming from, Gina recalled. Quote, her dream of bagging a prince was even written in one of her old blogs, end quote. That was from Gina, the agent. At Kate's wedding to Prince William in 2011, Meghan had written, quote, little girls dream of being princesses, and grown women seem to retain this childhood fantasy. I don't. Anyway, just look at the pomp and circumstance surrounding the royal wedding and endless conversations about Princess Kate, end quote. Gina left the restaurant with one thought. Meghan is dreaming big. All right, people. This is incredible. I'm learning a lot. I am learning a lot. We are going to continue next week with A Troubled Prince. Bum, bum, bum. I'm going to have to reshift my chapters around a little bit because I was figuring out how many I needed each week to get about 25 pages in, is what we've been kind of doing. Oh, and says he's dragging Diana's legacy through the... I don't know, poor Diana. Wendy said she just wanted Prince, not a prince. That's funny. All right. He was so little when she passed. Yeah, and he was traumatized by that, as any little boy would be if their mother passed away at that age. But I also feel like the royal family didn't properly handle it, based on stuff I see in the media, because I'm not there. But, that kind of stiff upper lip and let me know how much time you need and then pull it all together, walking behind the coffin. Sometimes I feel royal protocol can be broken to keep a small little boy from having to walk behind his mother's coffin down the streets in front of all those people. Oh, Mama Squirrel. I think Meghan would have married Charles if she could. My goodness. Andrew too, right? Isn't there like speculation now and rumors circling around that Meghan and Andrew may have been on the same yacht when she was like a yacht girl at one point, and that possibly they had a little rendezvous? Allegedly. I don't know. I see no proof. I do. You have to, so much stuff I have to like just take for granted, because it's amazing how many just full-on lies are just printed as fact online. I started watching a Sister Wives clip the other day, and it was about the trial with Cody and Christine. I'm like, oh, good. Like, information's out. And I'm listening to it, and they are going on and on with all this detail of what he said, then she said, and then he said, and Truly was there, and how she reacted, and their emotions, and it was these full-on conversations. And I'm like, everything is sealed. There is no way that any of this is true. So somebody created a story in their mind of how they think it probably would go down, or how they dream it would go down, because it was very much in favor of Christine and against Cody, but published it on YouTube as if it's fact. It's crazy. And I know a lot of that stuff is out there about Meghan and Harry as well. So I'm trying to be careful, which is why I chose this book to read, because I feel like he did his due diligence and research. But when I do hear something sensational, I'll just tell you and say allegedly, unless I come across something that I'm like, there's no way. Of course, that being said, the whole pregnancy thing, I've been saying there's no way for over a year about that one. And now I'm like, there's a way. There's a way. Okay. Yeah, Lynn, that's a good point. What Harry needs to remember is that Diana died in an alcohol-induced event, period. Had the guy not been drinking, most likely she would survive. Also, if she was wearing her seatbelt, they said most likely she would have survived. Oh, goodness. Because she was the only survivor, right? Didn't she have a bodyguard in there too? The driver died. Dodie died. She eventually died when she was back at the hospital. She was alive and she spoke. I just heard on The Crown, if The Crown is correct. I don't know. I'm sure that they embellished some stuff too, but they made it seem like it was a quote that one of the EMS people that were getting her out of the car and that heard her say, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And I haven't heard any other quotes from her. And then she passed when she was at the hospital. Well, that's a good question. I don't know Oh, who was fine with the Nazi costume? Oh, Meghan. Meghan must be. Yeah, we're not really addressing that, are we? We are not addressing that at all. Is this Harry? He still looks and sounds so bitter. Is that Al Fayed guy? Because he did seem very bitter. Although Harry's very bitter too. But he even thinks she was killed for dating a dark-skinned man, and that's why he's in danger now. So he feels like he's in danger, Harry does, or that's what he's saying? Is that the party line right now? I know. William lost his parent too. Yeah. He lost his mom as well. What had no toilet? When Meghan met Harry, and I'm sure all this will be in the book, when she met Harry, like, how long was it? A week or two? And then she went and spent a week with him in Africa, or after 3 dates. So I don't know, maybe it was 4 days. I think it was their third date, if I recall correctly. I don't remember, something like that. In a very short amount of time, she agreed to go to Africa, meet him in Africa, and go on a safari-ish. I guess it was a safari. They stayed on a safari in a tent, like a low canvas African style tent, not the glamping tents that you see some people when they go on African safaris that have like the wood boards at the bottom, and, so that the bugs aren't there. No, like a tent on the ground, big enough for maybe 2 people to sleep in, not the kind of tent that you walk in and has a dining room or anything. You had to crawl to get in it and sleep on the ground. And she did that for a week out in the wild. No latrine, nothing. No showers. I think there was a lake nearby. But like, after listening how this princess demanded so much in her life, how these exquisite accommodations were never enough, but she would do that for a whole week. How to rope in a prince. She did good. Okay, let me just go here to the bottom. No, the father didn't pass. Oh, well, not in the car accident. He may have recently passed away because he was older. I don't want to say recently, but like he may have passed away since all that happened, which would be good for the royal family because it seems like he was really a thorn in their side. Yeah, Harry wants his free security. He can't get over it. He can't get over it. Charles was giving millions of dollars to Harry and Meghan to live on, something like $4 million a year when they were working royals. Not bad, not bad. Princess Diana willed him and William a bunch of money that she had put aside for them because she always wanted them to be able to just walk off if they wanted to and not feel financially obligated to the crown. So she set up these like trust funds for them. It was something like $15 million in it, maybe more, could have been more. It was a lot of money. This is how much money they have. And then like she's doing like little gigs for $200,000. Suits, we saw how much she was making on suits. Like they had it in the bag. Even when they stepped away, they still had it in the bag because the royals were like willing to play ball a little bit with them. But they would not. And then they kept wanting the royal family to pay for their security. And they're like, well, we can't because it's paid by the citizens of Britain. And you're not a working royal anymore. And so that's when all the accusations and that's when it all went awry. And still to this day, Harry keeps making appointments and trying to meet with his dad, not his brother anymore. The two of them have a serious falling out. He had a falling out with his dad for a very long time. Then he eventually got his guy to talk to Charles's guy to arrange for a get together for him for like the third or fourth time to grovel. Apparently, every time he contacts his family, it's only because he wants money, which is sad. I think he needs to be stripped of everything, but keep the title of brother and son. Like, he shouldn't be cut off as a family member. He can still attend the family Christmases. He can still, but he doesn't have any royal duties, and therefore he doesn't receive any of the money that the Commonwealth uses to support them. Why would they? But Meghan really thought she could have her cake and eat it too. She could take him away. She could go back to where she grew up. She could have sunshine. And they would continue, they're grifters, basically, that the royal family would continue to support their lifestyle in the way that they're used to. But then they were going to get all these other multi-million-dollar deals. Like, I think she really thought she'd be a billionaire in not so many years. And I mean, they were well on their way. Netflix gave them $100 million deal, but they just wouldn't do the work. They wouldn't do the work. And when it came to them saying, like, oh, our whole purpose of going is we plan on still being very philanthropic, and they had this whole mantra of what they were going to do. And apparently on their tax returns, they have it listed that they do nonprofit work one day a month. You can't script it. Again, allegedly. That was kind of a reliable source. He can afford security. If these B and C list celebrities in Hollywood can afford security, all you have to do is put those millions of dollars in a good investment and then live off the interest, and you're fine. The feckless tent. Did you guys figure out what feckless meant? Feckless. It's so funny. I gotta write feckless down. I will forget it. Still makes me think of freckles, but there's no R. Feckless. All right. Let me scroll here. Well, that's true, Wendy. Daddy Markle created a monster, really. He gave her everything she ever wanted. He paid for everything. And then when she finally got a job as a working actress and kept asking him for money, by the way, even when she was up in Toronto, and then like a couple seasons in, he couldn't make his bills anymore. So he was taking out loans and everything, paid for her private school in California, not cheap, paid for a very expensive college, Northwestern, was paying for her car, pay for her apartments, like funded her lifestyle. And when he said, I can't afford to come see you, I can't afford an airline ticket, she doesn't buy a $500 airline ticket to send her dad to see her. She basically cuts him off. Well, if you're not going to come, I guess you don't love me. It's unbelievable. Sick is what it is. It's sick. Okay. She's always wanted to be a Hollywood celeb. She pretty much had everything at her disposal when she married him. She couldn't hold on to it. Nope, she couldn't. Her true inner self prevented her from succeeding. Her selfishness in the end really trumped it all. She thought she could have her cake and eat it too, and she can't. Yeah. In the Oprah interview, he complained about having to use his inheritance to Diana to live in California. I know this. So, what did you think her inheritance was for? That's exactly what she set it up for you to live on if you wanted to pick up and just walk away from the royal family. And he's appalled that he would have to use that money for how, but they were grifters all the way through. I mean, we saw Spotify. The guy came out and specifically called them grifters. The CEO, president, whatever it is of Spotify, canceled the deal and came out in public and said those two are grifters. They refused to do the work. They wanted all the money from Spotify, but she wanted to just show up and just, I guess, just talk, but she's not interesting, unfortunately. She's like, she has a very good ability and gift. In this chapter, they mentioned it too, to come across as genuine. And that's her MO. Everybody who meets her falls in love with her right away. They say she's sweet, she's kind, she's generous, she's giving, she has gifts. Like she knows what to do to love bomb at the beginning of every relationship. And then when it gets set in stone, she uses that person for as much as she can. And then when she can't use them anymore, she discards them. And she has had that pattern her whole life. She did it with all her friends growing up, her friends from college, her first husband, her father. At one point, it was her mother, but now her mother's back in good graces. But now I think her mother's out of the good graces again. Like she can't. And all of it, she just is attempting to social climb. You can see her intent. You can see her purpose in life. You would think that she would be so happy just living in that cottage, not even the cottage, in that, 5,000 to 6,000 square foot, gorgeous renovated place that the people renovated. They did pay back the crown, something like $1.5 million or $2.5 million. They did pay back. They said they were going to when they left because they had just gotten renovated shortly before they picked up and left. So one of the agreements was that and I had heard that they did pay back. So that's good. All right, here we go. Oh, you guys, this is a lot of fun, isn't it? I kind of like this story. It's a nice break from Cody, but still in the realm of crazy, narcissist, selfish, egotistical persona in the media who just doesn't get it and is always a victim. Doria knows the ride's ending soon, so she got out of there. Yeah, like the writing on the wall's not looking really good for her. All right. My queens, this was lovely. Nothing on Friday. SOS exclusive gals. I'll see you on Sunday night. I think I made the thumbnail already for 9:30. And then next Tuesday, we will be back doing episode, I don't know what it is. 3, I think. 3 or 4. I think it's 3. Oh, no, it's season 3, episode 2, because we just started it this week, didn't we? It's all a blur. Take care, everyone. Yeah, stay cool. That's right. Your Royal Highness bids adieu. Goodbye, everybody.